with that. We're recording now. So I need 2 stands. Okay, so we'll start with straw phonation. Let's see, is there anything I need to tell you before that? Things are moving along fine. I'll wait because we'll have participants dropping in a little bit, so I'll do announcements later. Let's go ahead and start with a little bit of straw phonation. We'll start with glissandi. You know that glissando is the singular and glissandi is the plural. So, because it's an Italian word, that's the masculine. So glissandi, we'll do multiple glissandos. That's not proper Italian. So starting low, going high, going back down. Here we go. Oh, okay. I apparently I'm out of breath. Do another one. Here we go. Add one more. I'm smiling because it is true that you can multitask a little bit, like admit people into a Zoom meeting while straw phonating. It's possible. I just did it, so that's fun. One thing I want you to be aware of is when you start your phonating with this, what is the nature, how does it feel when you begin the sound? Are you aware of a resistance that you have to get past to make that first sound? Are you aware of a kind of a collection, a gathering of power in your back pressure kind of that you have to push through? I'm interested in finding out. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do a different exercise. Let's just do separate onsets, and you can do it basically wherever you want in terms of pitches, but here is, let's do it on a G. So I'm going to do like that. I'll demonstrate. So like that. And what I'm noticing is the way that I have to put just a little bit of extra power in, a little bit of extra intention, maybe is the better way to put it, to start that sound. Let's have you all do that too. Here we go. Now let's go back and do the glissando a couple times. Do short glissandi this time. And notice what you do when you start each glissando. Here we go. There's something to be learned there, and I don't know what it is, and I need to talk to the expert. Let me just point out in the chat, you can look and see from Lee Giovanni, she put in something about a webinar that's coming up. When is that webinar again, Lee? You're muted, Lee, so you need to unmute.
It's on the 29th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Thank you. The 29th is a Thursday, right? Okay, at 1 o'clock. So that's a week from Thursday, right? Yeah, okay. Sometimes I'm a little unclear on the date these days. So anyways, Scott is my friend who I'm going to be meeting with and talking about straw phonation. So if you go to that, I think you'll probably get some of what he's going to tell me. I think I'm going to see him before that webinar. So maybe I'll give you a little bit of a heads up on what he's going to talk about. But in any case, highly recommended. And Scott has been teaching straw phonation for a long time. And I think that he will have lots to offer for anybody who sees that webinar. So I'll promote that too. And the website there that Lee included, it's Emerald Ensemble. For the future, when we can get together, when we can have concerts, my friend and colleague, Dr. Gary Cannon, we were at UW together. He is the founder conductor of the Emerald Ensemble. That's one of his babies. He actually conducts 3, he conducted 4 ensembles for a while, 5, can't remember. Skagit Valley, no, that's me. Hello. Sorry. He conducts the Vashon Chorale and the Cascadian Chorale in Factoria, Bellevue area, and the Emerald Ensemble. And he did conduct and founded the Sine Nomine early music ensemble in Seattle. He handed that off to somebody a few years ago. So he's definitely a major player in the choral world in Seattle, and their Emerald Ensemble is providing things online as they are able right now. And so, yes, Lee was also talking about a workshop for IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet, which they did, and the things that they put out are going to be useful. So just letting you know that. So back to straw phonation. Let's go ahead and do some roller coaster or revving or little humps or however you think of it. Okay, here we go. So. Use that for me. Do you notice if any air is escaping outside your lips alongside the straw? I noticed that was happening to me. I had to adjust. And remember also keeping this all relaxed and easy, all relaxed and easy throughout. Again, one more time. Now, we've done some exercises in the last few weeks that have been melodic with straw phonation, but I want to focus on some specific intervals. So let's just actually, rather than kind of nondescript humps or roller coaster, let's start with a third, I think, from here. That's a D. So what I want to do is, no, let's go B flat. So that might be a little low. So we're going to go we're going to from a B flat to a D to a B flat. So we're going to slide like this. And then we'll do a fourth after that, and then a fifth after that, and then an octave after that. Okay, so here we go. At your own speed, but you can follow me if you want. Okay, here's the third first. Then a fourth. Then a fifth. Then an octave. Then a fifth. Then a fourth. Then a third. Now let's do that all in sequence without taking a breath in between. So from B flat to a D, then to a E flat, then to an F, then to a B flat, then back, and then to an F again, then a E flat, then a D. Okay, those are the intervals. Here we go. You might need to breathe in there at some point. Okay, so the reason why I'm thinking about intervals like that is because there are certain intervals in the pieces that we're doing that require a little bit of navigating, and specifically basses, I'm thinking of you at this moment first in terms of Santa Gets a Suntan Down Under, or Down Under Santa Gets a Suntan. There's a couple of octave jumps in that early slow section of Santa that are pretty tricky to sing. Today I finished recording the practice guides for Santa, and so I've experienced those personally, and that's why I'm wanting to share this with you, is to think about how are you going to make that transition work. So even though not everybody sings that part, I'd like to use a little bit of that just for a practice, just for feeling what it feels like to use the straw phonation to be aware of the registration change. Remember, we've talked about that. That's the change in parts of your voice And so that the straw phonation is something that can be helpful for you to feel how you can make that change happen in your voice in the most easy way, because the straw phonation requires you to not get carried away with too much pressure or too much weight. So if I was to share the screen with you right now, and I was going to show you Santa, actually, let's just do this. Let's do that. Okay, and I'm going to show you Santa. So if you look at the bass part, are we seeing this, the sheet music? Can you see the sheet music? Please give me a thumbs up. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're looking at the bass part right here. It's going to go low for sopranos and tenors. So you could transpose or you could just experiment with it. We'll see. So if we start with a B flat, by the way, I'm just running along here, so you can jump in and let me know if you got a question and unmute yourself and say, hey, we haven't figured out this part. That's a B flat. So if we were singing, it would be down under Santa gets a suntan. You hear a little waver there on the transition from gets a, right? And that's the tricky part. And then there's the one on the bottom score of this page as well. Gets a. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sing this. We're going to sing it with straw phonation. You can do it with me, you can listen to it once, we'll do it 2 or 3 times. So here we go, 2, 3. That was a lot easier for me to do at that time. Of course, I'm not dealing with vowels and consonants, but really the issue wasn't necessarily the vowels and the consonants. It was just that change in change in pitch that threw me off before. Let's do that again. There's your first pitch, 2, 3. And let's do Santa gets a suntan, just Santa gets a, ready? And how about just the octave jump from the G to the G? And so go back and forth, so experiment with that. Now basses, of course, this is for you, and I would recommend basses that you do this before you record this song. Experiment with how that straw phonation can help you find that interval and sing it more comfortably. But everybody has their variations of a interval that's tricky somewhere in, whether it's in this piece or another one. Basses. Here's another one from that B natural to the B natural up above. So let's do this one. Here's a D. I'll sing it for you on the actual words. In the South Pacific summertime. So here's a D. That's new key center. Do it on straw now. Ready? And let's do just the B to the B. There's the pitch again. I'm going to go from the low octave to the high and back. Here we go. Let's go from the B to the B to the A. Here we go. I find it so much easier, again, with the straw than Pacific summertime. When you're singing on a vowel, you're going to need to be aware of how the vowel stays the same and maybe how it changes. What changes? You don't want things to change without your intention. You don't want to do something like thick or something like that, which will make your sound, you will lose the focus of your tone if you do that. So you want to keep the vowel the same, but you are going to need to modify something. Probably you don't have to think about it very much, especially if you set it up with the straw in advance. Here's in the South Pacific. We'll do that again from the D. There's your D, 2, 3. And what I was getting at before in terms of your onset, how you start your sound with the straw, there's a similarity in terms of the pressure differential between the low octave and the high octave. Again, there's some changes happening, and that's something that the straw can help you sort out and kind of feel in a different way. I think I need to stop sharing for a second because I need to see if anybody needs to jump in. No. Okay, going back into the screen. Were there questions, however? I thought I might have seen a hand. Okay, Bob, you got a hand up? Yes, please ask your question.
Two questions. How much water pressure are we supposed to have in whatever we're using?
Uh-huh. So one thing, when you got a lid, remember that increases the pressure and that makes it harder to sing, or it can. It depends on the. It looks like you flip top there might be open, and so that's probably
Well,
letting the
yeah, I've
pressure
got
go.
enough. I've got enough air, or escape room. That's not an issue here. But how? I put it in here because just the tumbler was getting water all over the place.
Right. So as long as you don't have so much pressure that you're finding it really hard to sing, probably
Okay.
it's okay. It's something that you can play with. You can adjust based on what it feels like. If it feels like it's not giving you enough pressure that you're not actually working at all, then maybe you
Okay.
need to increase the amount of water in there. Or if it feels like you're pushing too hard and this is harder than it should be, then maybe you need to do less. Notice also I've got like 2 inches of water in here, but my
Yeah.
straw is not
Okay.
at the bottom. I'm not using all of that water. That would be probably more pressure than I would want to be using. That was question one.
That question two. I was singing with a small choir a year or so ago, and I was right next to somebody that was not at all on pitch. I mean, he was way off. And I was complaining to the director that, this is very difficult for me to follow the music because I've got somebody right next to me that's just out in left field. And what he said was, you may have to just ignore what you hear and depend more on what you feel in your throat to get the right pitch. And my question is, do you agree with that? And how much is the straw business going to mess that up? Or what effect will it have on it?
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. I would say yes. Basically, I agree with that. I would maybe not say throat specifically. If we're talking more,
Whatever.
yeah, well, no,
Yeah.
no. I mean, it's important to think about all the space that you're
Yeah.
using,
Yeah.
all the
Okay.
resonating space. So mouth, pharynx, all that room. But basically,
Let's
yeah.
just put physical sensation rather than audible. How's that?
Yes, well, that's true. But remember also that what you're hearing, what you're listening to, sorry, the information that you take as a singer about pitch is only partly about what you hear. A lot of it is also about what you feel.
Yeah.
And that depends on how well you understand your voice and how well you have developed your understanding, your clarity of sense perception about pitch and how it relates to the different parts of your voice. And coming back to what you were saying, um, with the straw phonation, it takes you out of. Okay, let me step back a little bit. Many people, when they change pitch, especially from a low pitch to a high pitch or something like that, they automatically kick in a certain amount of pressure and tension to get to that high note.
Yes.
And straw phonation is intended to help you learn not to do that. So,
Okay.
but that also is going to change your perception of what it feels like to sing a high note or a low note. So in one way, it's informing and developing your understanding of how pitch changes feel in your voice. And it also can be kind of throwing you off from what you have known in the past. But that's probably a good thing, depending on how you have sung in the past. If you have had a tendency to sing with too much pressure or tightness or things like that, then the new sensations that you're learning from straw phonation are going to be a good guide for you, both with the straw and without, and with singers who are matching pitch and with singers who are not. It's all going to inform you more about what you can, about what the actual pitch is. So let me have you reflect. Oops, excuse me. Let me have you reflect back what I've said and how much of your question I've answered.
Okay, I get it. I just need
Okay.
to work on it.
Okay. Good. That's clear. Anybody else want to add or ask more question about what Bob was just talking about? Okay. I'm not seeing any hands. Going to go back. Oh, wait, Mark, go ahead.
Well, I drank most of my water, so I didn't have very much in there. So I went and refilled it up, mostly up. And I just realized that you can raise the straw up and down and change the amount of pressure that you're fighting against. And I just wondered, is there any particular lessons that are better with a light pressure and others better with as heavy a pressure as you can get?
I'm going to say, well, first of all, I don't have enough experience to really be able to answer that question with authority. Ask Scott when you go to his webinar. But I will actually ask Scott when I work with him too. That's because that is a question that I have wondered too. But I'm going to say that the more pressure, sorry, you said something that I was like, no, that's not quite right. The more pressure, the better is not where you want to go. You don't want to go with too much pressure.
Okay.
I think I talked about it last time in terms of like reps, like when you're doing weights and you do some repetitions with more weight, and then you do more maintenance repetitions with less weight.
Yeah.
There may be something like that to this too, but again, this is not something that I have enough experience to really say for sure. So, but what I would say is, first of all, you got to have some pressure. It's not going to help you. So there needs to be some. And you can, like I was saying to Bob, you can experiment with that and find out where it feels like you're working. Like Lorraine has some exercises that she got from her voice teacher that are helping her work on her onset. And what he said is that you need to feel your core working in order to really be effectively using your air. So if you're not feeling your core working, do you know what I mean by that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Good.
If you're not feeling your core working, then probably you need more pressure against you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to Santa because there was something I wanted to do with the altos, and this will be a little bit higher in pitch and more people will be able to work with that. By the way, Linda, I saw your notes. This might help you with the low notes of sing on. That's great. Yes, I think that's a good insight. Okay, so take a look at the alto part here. The only white that's ever seen, right? It's only a fifth jump, but it's going altos from below your break, which is generally around E flat to F. So you're going from below that break to above it. And some of the things that I've heard in recordings that people have sent in and other things I've heard over many years of voice teaching is that this is an easy place for singers, for altos especially, to lose track of their air, to lose track of their core quality of sound. So let's look at this spot and sing it. I'm first of all going to sing on the words, the only light that I've heard. So it's like this, 2, 3. The only white that's ever seen is cricket. I think we'll stop there. We don't need to do Bowling Green. Did you notice? I don't know if you saw, I adjusted. I could feel the changing as I went, ever. I felt a little bit of a change. I have to be careful that I don't get stiff and tight about that. But I felt an adjustment. And the same thing is going to happen when we do it with the straw. So now can you sing it with the straw? Everybody, the only white that's ever. 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll stop on cricket. I'm curious if any of the altos have something that they want to say about that, but let's do it once again before I stop sharing, or maybe even twice. Here we go, 1, 2, and 3. Try it without the straw on the text. The only 1, 2. The only white that's ever seen is cricket. And one more time on straw. 1, 2, and 3. One of my goals in using the straw and in singing this phrase on words is to make sure that I don't break, I don't lose the focus of the tone from ever seen. So I have a nice quality tone all the way through that phrase. Do I have any altos or anyone else who wants to comment on that phrase and what they just experimented? Go ahead, Jean.
Well, I try to stay in head voice as low as I can go, which is usually down to a B or a little lower. And so there is no break. It's all in head voice.
Mm-hmm. And well, the thing about staying in head voice, though, is that there will be a point at which, if not on this phrase necessarily, but there will be a point at which you want to kick in some more power and you can't because your head voice doesn't really allow that. So for you, I might suggest, or for anyone who's working with that kind of approach, you might take the fifth jump and take it down a little bit. Actually, I think, let me see. I can't remember the exercise. I've done it a lot. I've done an exercise a lot in voice lessons. Maybe it'll come back to me with women working on that break where, shoot. Well, say we were in D. It'd be like, ooh, right? So you start on the root. It's 1, 3, 5. I'm going to type this in here. Type it in here. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 5, 1. So you go down the octave. You go down to a low A, which probably most women are not going to be able to sing that A in their head voice. They're going to have to switch over into their chest voice. I can't remember the vowel. That's what I'm having trouble with right now. I can't remember what vowel I used, and that's important because some vowels are going to help you and not. What you got, Wendy? Are you showing me a vowel?
I was wondering if it would be an E because it's a more forward sound.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I love this stuff where people ask questions because that gives me a chance to respond to what you are working with individually. Thank you, Wendy. Let's do it with E. So what we're going to do, and this is for the altos, but it's for all the women, and it's not going to hurt the guys either. You'll probably find it not hard at all, and you'll say, what's the big deal? But for the women, it can be a big issue to go across that break because you want to be able to use the whole of your range, chest voice, head voice, mixing them together, being able to choose at will how much of a given part of your voice, whether it's chest or head, that you're using in a given phrase. Let's do this. And maybe we'll go back and forth with straw phonation also. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it on E to start with, and we're going to go E. Here we go, once again. And E. Try it on different vowels. Do it on oo. Ready? And ooh. Sometimes when I do this with women in lessons, I say, okay, let's slide really slowly from the 1, 5, 1, and really find your way down there. Like you're going down the stairs in the dark in a house you've never been in before, and you're not sure where that tread is, and you're finding it. Ooh. Again, ready? And ooh. Do it on ah. And I predict that when you do it on ah, you're going to have trouble. It's going to wobble. Okay, here we go on ah. Ready? And ah. Okay, good. Pat, you saw it. I see Marilyn. What did you notice? Did it wobble for you?
Adam, it not only wobbles, but for me, every time I hit that low A, I feel like I just get heavier. As far put more. I have to consciously think lighter on that note.
And what a perfect segue. Let's do it with a straw, okay? Because I predict that that's going to make it smoother. That's going to help you work on that registration change. Here we go. Ready? 2, 3. It might suddenly be really easy. Did you notice change, Pat? What was it like? Yep, good. Everybody else have a comment about that? Jean, coming back to you, what are you noticing? What were the vowels like for you? E, oo, ah.
Well, E was good, but at the break, I always get a glottal hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And
I
that's
didn't
your,
but not with the straw.
not with the straw. Let's do this. Actually, we should do 2 in a row. And I'm going to say, choose your favorite vowel, okay? So it could be E for somebody, or it could be oo. Probably isn't going to be ah, but let's do it once on the straw and then once on your favorite vowel. Ready? 2, 3. Ah. Choose your own vowel. Ready? And did that make it more successful the second time when you came back to the vowel after doing with straw? Jean? So. This is something to work on, right? This is something to, what, as somebody has said, it's Pat, I think, we're working on learning out more about our voices. That's one of the things that this venue is the lemonade that we can make, is all of us learning more about our voices in this context. So thank you for asking your questions, because that helps me. All right, any other questions about that? Okay, good. So let's see, intervals. So we did some intervals for the basses and for the altos, and I haven't really got any in mind for the sopranos and tenors. Maybe I'll come back to that in a future session, or maybe you'll email me and say, wow, I'm really having a hard time with this spot. Adam, can you address that in a future rehearsal? So just so you know, that door is open to you. And now let's go once again. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I wanted to do this. We're going to do one more thing in Santa. And I realized when I was singing this, it's comfortable for me, but it may not be comfortable for certain altos and basses to sing, "'Cause down under Santa gets a suntan," in that spot there. It's a high D, it's a high E flat, I think, in some spots. So let's do that with straw phonation and see what that's like. I'm going to go back and share again, and we'll go to that spot. Okay, so sorry for the scrolling. After the beach, wait, sorry. Okay, here we go. So B flat, I'll sing it for you. You're probably familiar with it, but if we're doing it, and this is all slow, we're not doing this at real tempo, of course, that's another story, to be able to handle the faster tempo with these changes in your voice at the same time. So if I always say like, "'Cause down under Santa gets a suntan," we'll just do that much, okay? And we'll do it again. Go ahead and sing it on the words. You can straw if you want, but let's start with the words generally. And 1, 2. "'Cause down under Santa gets a suntan." Now what helps you in this phrase is the N and the D before you get the vowel. Those things collect your energy and help you release it to the high note and make it a little bit easier to get there. They can also get in your way if you get too stuck on that N or the D. Unders, that's not going to be so good. But probably you can make that N and D help you, and the vowel is open enough and relaxed enough that you're not going to tighten it. If it was like, "'Cause down under Santa gets a suntan," that would probably be harder to sing. So let's do that again on words. "'Cause down under," and 1, 2. "'Cause down under Santa gets a suntan." You may even find that there's too much power in your voice and you overpower that high D. Or maybe altos, you may feel like you strangle as you go high for that note. You got to keep your throat open as you do that. Okay, let's do it on the straw. And here we go. And 1. We're going to do it again. And 1, 2. Something that I'm finding, because I haven't had that much experience with straw phonation, When I'm moving faster in my voice, I'm not always certain whether I'm being very accurate through the straw. I can't quite hear it very well. So I'm, that may prove to be a challenge for you. Let's go one more time straw and then go back immediately and do it again on text and see if that changes anything for you. Be aware of how your throat is open when you're singing it with the straw. And 1, 2. You know what? I lied. I'm going to do it again on the straw really slowly. About that speed. And 1, 2. What I learned about my own singing right there was I wasn't really actually kicking the energy up for that D quite soon enough. I had to kind of scoop up to that note. And so maybe I need to put a little more energy a little sooner. Let's do it again. Slowly, sliding, feel the glide. And 1, 2. Okay, so I did it differently that time and ended up blowing the water all over the place. So there's something to be learned here through the straw phonation, through doing that on that phrase. I'm going to skip out of sharing again and see if there are any questions or comments about that. What was that like? Okay, nobody's having a comment. That's fine. We don't always have to comment. So, all right. So I do want to move on to last week we sang Peace, Peace on straw phonation. I want to do that again. I'm curious, sopranos, what I had in mind sort of was that we do the first verse in straw and then the second with words, but that doesn't really give you the opportunity to do your higher descant with the straw. So you might experiment sopranos with singing in the first verse, your second verse, sing the descant in the first verse with the straw, and then sing the second verse again without the straw, with the text. It's up to you. You do it how you like. I won't know, but let's experiment here and see what we can develop about our better understanding, our fuller grasp of this song with straw phonation. And what was the key for that? I forgot. Was it E flat? Okay, I better pull up the music. So let me just do that real quick. Okay, so I'll share that again with you. Excuse me, from here. It's A. That's what the key is. So coming back here to share with you. Any questions first of all before I do that? Okay, so share. And here is Peace. So we're going to do the song. Oh, I remember I played the recording for you last time too. So let's just jump to that real quick. Bear with me.
Adam?
Yep, go ahead.
I think Stephanie has something she wanted to say and she's muted.
Okay, Stephanie, go ahead, please, while you're
Okay. I keep unmuting myself. So I did have a couple of thoughts about the straw phonation, because I think it really relates to how we do it on the flute. And that is, without the straw, you're tempted to do, like if you have your hand in front of your face and you're just blowing, it's just kind of rather cool air. If you blow from the back of your throat, like you're trying to warm up your hand, you know, if you're cold outside, that's hot air. When you blow from the back of your throat, it's hot air and it's coming from your diaphragm. If the air is cool coming out, it's just from here. So.
Good. I like that. And the space when she's coming from farther back, that I think that implies more space, more resonating space inside for the vowels, which is also what we're heading for too. So yeah, good. Thank you, Stephanie. Good add. All right, now I'm going back to share. Just checking one more time for hands raised with questions. Okay, going back to share. And we're going to sing Peace, Peace with the recording. So here we go. Oh, can you hear? Okay, thank you. Cue. you're
former
behind
chorale
there.
members, will you please stand and join us?
Okay, on text. We'll go ahead and finish it up.
Future chorale singers. That's all of you. Silent night.
Silent night, all is calm, all is bright. None young virgin, mother and child, trailing infants all tender and mild, sleeping heavenly beings, sleeping heavenly. All right, good.
Thank you all.
Thank you. So coming back to this, I want to point out a couple things first of all, for the tenors and basses, anyone singing the Silent Night part, especially basses, but this is not a bad thing for the tenors and tenors to be aware of too. Notice this, sleep in heavenly. I don't know how many of the basses have trouble with that. It's getting a little bit up there for some of you probably. So let's do it with the straw, please. And what I want to know is, do you find that that will help you find your way to that higher note? Same thing with the next phrase, the rest of this phrase, peace, going from there to there, right? The thing about this phrase, it's not very easy because, okay, you've done this highest note, but you are not done with the phrase yet. You got to keep the energy going all the way to there. So, what's that going to be like? Here we go. Tenors and basses. Anybody else who wants to sing this? So altos, it'd be a good challenge for you too. And I'll give you two measures. Here's the two. 1, 2. And I went on to the next phrase because I thought, actually, that's a good challenge as well. Having been in that upper part of your range, tenors and basses especially, coming down here, it would be really easy to get heavy and say, okay, I did the hard part, and stop paying attention to how you're using your air effectively, and therefore become heavy and ponderous perhaps in your tone. So one more time, actually, before I do that, I want to come back and see if there's any tenor and bass who wants to comment on that. Peggy, go ahead.
With being a female tenor, I can't sing the whole verse in where it's written or up an octave because it gets too high. So what do you say? Should I just jump up like at the end and sing that where it's written at the end, or should I go to the alto part?
You mean sing it where it's written, as in it's written in the treble clef, and that's where you would take it up there? Or,
Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually I was noticing just this time as we were singing through it that there were people in the audience who were singing up the octave, sopranos and altos among the audience members, or maybe among the choir members who were singing the Silent Night part, and they were singing in that range. So in terms of that, certainly if you were to sing that, it's not like you would stick out because there would be other people singing that as well. So that's one thing that occurs to me. I'm looking at the sheet music here. Yeah, it's awfully low. B flat's going to be way low.
The D and E at the end, there's just no way I could sing that. So If I sing it up an octave, do I just drop those notes because I can't hit them?
Yeah, well, you could consider jumping to the alto part. Peace on earth. That last little bit there.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about a relatively high B flat there, but that might be easily within your range. What do you think?
It's close.
Uh-huh,
I can do
yeah.
it fine with bubbling through the water,
Uh-huh.
but hearing myself by myself without blending with anybody around me is a
Right.
little awkward.
And so you actually are, I'm realizing as I think about it, we're not talking about sometime in the future when we're all singing together in person. You're talking about when you record this. There is there's something to think about there. So yeah, I need to be a little more practical about that. Let me think about this. I think I'm interested in, I might have to table that question. I was going to say I'm interested in the possibility of some of the altos and sopranos within the choir when we record this song that you sing Silent Night in your range, in your octave. And therefore we'll have coverage for some of those female tenors who want to jump up like Peggy is describing. That's something to consider. So I might say perhaps sopranos and altos, you sing the soprano and alto parts and you record that. And then I say, hey, would you mind going back and singing the Silent Night part and recording that also and sending that to me in your own range? And we'll kind of have we'll have octaves going on for that Silent Night melody. I think we can do that. So Peggy, I think you'll be covered. That'll work for us. So, okay, good.
Adam?
Yep, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, for the basses, some of us tired basses at the end of a concert are dropping it an octave and always have. Yeah, we're down in the basement.
Go with it. Go with it. It's fine. We'll
wherever it lands, as long as it sounds right.
Yeah,
right?
That's fine. I could even modify you. I could make you all sound like monsters, and you'll be down 2 octaves. That'd be fun. Never mind. Okay. So, and by the way, I wanted to mention Stephanie has finished recording the piece accompaniment, and I just finished putting that, just a few last little adjustments today, and I'll sing that in the next few days, and we'll have that for you to start practicing and recording. It won't take me long to get video click tracks ready for that. So I realized that it's been a little while. I had the feeling that it's like, okay, I cannot go with the same sort of relaxed schedule I've been on in terms of getting you what you need to make your recordings and us still finish on time. So it needs to be in the next week or two that I get the rest of the video clip tracks done. That's my goal. So that means Solstice Song, Peace, Peace, Santa, and Christmas Memories. And on Christmas, I'm waiting still for Eric. We've been working it out. If you feel bad, remember, he's a pro, right? And he's sent me, I think, 8 tracks so far. And I haven't rejected them all, but they haven't been what I need. And it's not his singing, actually. His singing is consistently gorgeous, actually. But it's a matter of how far away he is, what the gain level, how loud, if there's clipping and distortion, or if there's a motorcycle going by his house or things like that. And those are the things that we're still resolving. But I think we finally narrowed it down to exactly where he needs to record and at what level. And so hopefully we'll get that from him very soon. So let's see, where are we at? We're at 7:20, and I think it's a good time for a break. So let's come back at 7:26 and continue.
Are you there?
Yep, that's Judy.
Yes, it's me. I'm the unknown iPhone that comes in most of the time. I don't know what's wrong with this fool laptop, but I always try it first, and it usually sits there and stares at me. And then I go through my phone, and so I listen to you for a while. Then all of a sudden, the laptop decides to work again. And so that's when you see me. But I'm actually there the whole time.
Okay.
I am blowing bubbles and everything else. I just have no control over this idiot machine or the idiot internet. So
Okay.
I'm here
Good.
doing my best.
All right.
I did
Sounds
find
good.
the click tracks. I'll try to send something.
Good. Sounds good. Yep. Brenda, did you notice I changed your name?
Oh,
Yep. So, Brenda, have you used Zoom very much yet? A little bit?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've used it a little bit, not a lot, but
Okay. So, depending on what you're using, are you using a laptop or a computer? Or
right now I'm using a laptop.
Okay. So, whether you're using a mouse or a touch screen, there should be, if you touch it, you should get like the 3 dots that gives you options.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
usually there should be a rename option
Oh, okay.
there.
All right.
So you
Thank
can do
you.
that. In terms of, well, you probably don't want to change your husband's name to yours on his computer. So it's probably
He'll
something you'll
figure it
just,
out.
yeah, probably you just do it for each time you're in the meeting.
Okay.
So, good to
Thank
have you
you.
here. So
It's good to be here.
yeah, good. So let me see now. I think.
Adam.
Yeah.
This is Pat. It was
Mhm.
extremely embarrassing handing you all those things I sent in. It is quite. I've always been proud of the fact that I was good in rhythm and good in pitch. And when I heard myself, I thought, well, rhythm is pretty good, but the pitch not so much. And especially, and this is what we're talking about. There's a song in Sing On where you go from the B flat down to the G and back up to the sing da, 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 that part. And the B flat is right on my break. And I noticed when I dived down to the G, I was flat. And but I had recorded it like 18 times, so I sent it to you anyway.
Help me figure out where that spot is. I haven't quite
The basic
gotten
melody line, anywhere you have that, which would be
Oh,
like
to find the things that keep you singing on. Is it that?
no. Sing on, whatever comes your way, sing on. And
Oh.
it's not that hard. It's just that when I went from the break place, which is the B flat, that's right at my break. That's my hard note to sing.
Mhm.
When I went from that note down to the G and back up again, when I aimed for that G, I was flat. And I always thought, oh, I'm always right on pitch. I'm so happy about the fact that I'm always right on pitch. I wasn't right on pitch. I was really quite embarrassed about that. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's quite an exercise to listen to yourself. It's not a good one.
No, it is a good one. It is a good one. It's
well,
there are pluses and minuses. We'll
it's
put it
demeaning.
No, well, sorry. I don't mean to diminish. I don't mean to say that your experience is not valid.
Yeah.
But I would like you to reinterpret it a different way.
Right. No, I know what you're saying.
So that it becomes, and demeaning especially, I would really want you to think of it in a different way than that, because, well, number one, it's you and me, right? Nobody else is going to hear it. And I am not judging people for what they're presenting to me. That is not happening. But it's easy for us to be blissfully ignorant of what we're actually doing. And it's important, I think, sometimes to have that realization of what is true. And that doesn't mean that what was true when you recorded a given piece is always true or will be true, but there's enough truth in it that you can learn from it and say, okay, what can I find out about myself from this experiment? And with courage and fortitude and persistence, you go on and you say, okay, what are the things that I can change? It's the AA prayer again, right? What are the things I have to accept, and what are the things in this recording that I can change and improve? And that's where, to some extent, that's where these rehearsals come in. When I did it with my college choir, right, and everybody had no choice but to sing for me whenever I wanted them to, that was a much more active, hands-on. I will now, not I, but them, I will now apply what the teacher is telling me to try to improve what I'm doing. So if you're an active participant in that and you bring me the questions, like you just did, then that helps me to say, okay, what can I apply from what I know to help you and everybody else who's singing that line, because it ain't just you, right? People have similar issues with vocal technique. So have courage, stay with it, you know, and also know that what you are providing me is valuable, is worthy, is beautiful, and is absolutely part of the whole that needs to be. So, and actually that's a good segue, because I wanted to say about the recordings that people are handing in, how many we have so far. So right now I have 8 recordings of the alto part. I have 4 recordings of the bass part, 3 each of soprano and tenor. And actually one of those tenors is an alto who was singing tenor, experimenting. So altos, awesome, right? Lorraine said, altos are always overachievers. So, yeah, I thought you would enjoy that. So, so we need more sopranos, we need more tenors to be submitting, and basses. And I want to be somewhere in the middle, between encouraging you to turn in those recordings sooner, but giving you the time that you need to feel like you're ready to turn them in. On one hand, there is time, we've got lots of time. On the other hand, if I get a whole lot of recordings right about Thanksgiving, that's going to be really hard for me. So you have mercy on me and get me some of those recordings sooner. Karen, you got a question or a thought? You're muted right now, you need to unmute.
There. How many people have turned in recordings so far?
So that's 18. 18 I've got.
And you want, okay, I know this is going to be a stupid question, but I'm famous for them. You want on all of these pieces, like I'm a soprano, so you want my soprano line singing that and send it into you.
Mm-hmm. That's not
right?
a stupid question. Yes, that's what I want. And
okay.
yeah, so remember that, as always, it's still true. You don't have to submit anything. You can participate in this and not submit a single recording to me, and that's okay. I figure if I had about 30 recordings on a given piece, that'll sound fairly full. And because we're presenting this from the start to our audience in December as a representative sample of the chorale, we don't have to sound like 120 people. It's not expected. So if we have 30 or so people, 8 on a part, that's going to sound pretty rich. That's going to sound just fine. So we're not there yet. Another 14 people on Sing On, and then all the other songs, of course. But it'll come. And I'm not worried about it yet. But I am just kind of giving you a little encouragement here. So,
nudge.
Okay, a little nudge.
Adam.
Go ahead.
Adam. It's Bonnie. Hi.
Bonnie, thank you. Bonnie.
I don't know if you've already covered this. Forgive me if you have. So when you're in the midst of doing a recording and you have to, during a time that you're not singing, you're waiting for the other parts. What if you have to clear your throat? Is that something that you can erase?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do automatically erase that. It's actually quite easy to erase things like that. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that reminds me of something I wanted to talk about anyway. When visually, what I see in Logic Pro, I'm going to mute people because I'm getting a little feedback here. Okay, visually what I see in Logic Pro is those tracks, and they're all horizontal, right? And there are certain places where the altos and sopranos sing, and there are certain places where the altos and sopranos don't have anything. And all I have to do is select all of those tracks and say from here to here, select all that, cut it all out, and you're suddenly making no sound at all through that whole section right there. So it doesn't matter what you do in that point. It doesn't matter if your smoke alarm goes off, it'll all be gone. If you're coughing in the middle of a phrase, that's harder to deal with, but I can still deal with that also. It means there'll be a little blip in your personal track where you won't be heard, but that's not a big deal. I'm learning as I go about how to make that more subtle than I did in the spring with my students at the college. So yes, you don't have to worry about that. You can be comfortable. And what I wanted to say to the chorale, to everybody about that, we're speaking now about noises that you make while you're recording, right? That's kind of the big picture of what we're talking about. When page turns, when you do page turns, I was noticing down under Santa Gets a Suntan, here's my sheet music for that, right? And so in the South Pacific summertime, right? The only, actually that's not too bad. There's a space there, but where I could cut it off. But here, this one, it's off to the beach, throw off your clothes. That's going to be a loud sound. It'd be really good if you could memorize what happens with throw off your clothes and sing that before you turn the page. Because see, then there's all these 3 measures of empty space where you can make any noise you want and it's not going to matter. But if you do that loud page turn in between off to the beach, throw off your clothes, then I'm going to have to figure out a way to cut that out. And that's a little extra work for me. Not a big deal, but it'd be helpful. So, and that's just kind of a recording artist way to think about it. You know, what can I do to help make minimal extra noise in the recording? Bob, did you have your hand up? Okay, not gonna.
I did, yes.
Did. Go ahead.
One of the things I tried on the last time I recorded is I used, there it is, it's called a dead cat. And for the microphone I'm using, it takes the hits and noises away. You can also use a sock over the microphone portion of your iPhone, and it just deadens some of the very high noisy pitches, like wind noise. That's really what the dead cat is made for, is blocking wind noise. So if you're close to your phone and your air is hitting it, that sock will stop the air, but it won't stop the audio sound from getting there. It'll just shave off that high-pitched air sound. So that really helped. Now I will take time to breathe. Bye.
Yeah, go for it. Thank you. So yeah, there's a certain amount of ambient noise on any given recording track, unless you're recording in a room that's, I've forgotten the word, anacoustic, whatever, that doesn't bounce off, that no sound bounces off. Judy and Teresa, are you saying hello to each other? Or are you waving to me?
No, I'm waving. I'm waving to you.
Okay. Hi, Judy.
I don't know what
you got?
Teresa's doing.
Okay.
I solved the problem of turning pages by looking at a separate iPad and bringing the music, using the music on the iPad. That way it doesn't make that noise.
Okay, good. So you got 3 devices going then, is that right?
I do.
Okay, that's impressive. And actually, something before we're done here, I'm going to ask people to have somebody in your life take a picture of you in action. So if you just can't arrange that, that's not a problem. But I would like to have a representative sample of the chorale members in action, recording with their computer going and their iPhone going, and for Judy, her iPad going, and a photo of you at the same time. So we can show people what you're going through, right? And
Adam,
hang on, Pat, hang on just a second.
Oh, go ahead.
And it's not that, because people have done virtual choirs, lots of virtual choirs, some people have an idea what that involves, but actually those virtual choirs don't really show the complicated setup that people have to deal with to make the virtual choir happen. So that's part of the idea. Is theoretically, what I'm thinking of is that I will include some of those pictures somewhere in one of our videos so that our audience sees what we're doing. Pat, go ahead.
Yeah, we could actually take a screenshot too, with Shift Command 3, so that you could take a screenshot of yourself. Like I've been taking screenshots all night long.
Uh-huh.
And,
well, that's
you can fake it, set it up, like.
You could do that, yes. Though that doesn't show the computer that you're looking at also.
Oh,
which
that's
is part
true. That's
part
true.
of the idea that I have in mind. Okay. While we're here, other questions. Mark, you got a question?
Yeah, this is not a question. This is sort of just another technique. through the years, I've sometimes been commandeered to turn the page for Ruth when she's playing complicated piano pieces. And I was rather stunned one time when I was sitting next to her and I'm waiting for her nod of her head of when I should turn the page. And she was nodding me to turn the page about 3 or 4 measures before the page. And of course, this staggered me because I realized that she was actually storing in short-term memory 4 measures worth. And this is not just a little singing part. This is complicated 10-finger stuff. But anyway, so I am not that good at that, but I have started doing that. And I like it better than having to have memorized what the next page is, because that always gives me this element of uncertainty. I turn the page and I don't know exactly what I'm going to be finding there.
Yeah.
So, but what you can scan real quickly the last couple measures before you turn, and then turn the page before you even get to the end of the page. And I found it's easier for me to do it quietly then, because I'm not kind of in a panic about getting to the next note.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's just another way of kind of memorizing.
That's good. Yep. That's good. Thank you. Okay. So I think what I want to do now is, let's see, I've got a whole bunch of things that I had to think about working. Let's stick with Santa just for one more thing, one more exercise, at least one more exercise, which is very briefly say, off to the beach, throw off your clothes. Remember how I asked you when last December and all in the fall, I asked you to essentially think of an extra eighth note on the end of each of those phrases where that consonant is, either ch for beach or z for clothes. Off to the beach, throw off your clothes, right? And you're putting an extra emphasis on there more than you probably would in most cases, but that's going to make it very clear where that should happen, and it should tie everybody together in terms of the rhythm of that phrase at least. Okay, so we're gonna just loop that and do it a few times, and then I want you to go around your house doing it for the next week or two until you record the song. So here we go. We're gonna go off to the beach, throw off your clothes. Again, off to the beach, throw off your clothes. Off to the beach, throw off your clothes. Now try this. Make the ch and the z of clothes, make them louder than everything else that you did. I won't necessarily want this in the recording, but just as part of the practice, just as the exercise. So 2, ready. Off to the beach, throw off your clothes. Off to the beach, throw off your clothes. Off to the beach, throw off your clothes. Okay, good. That's it. That's all I wanted to do. Practice that. Now, we've talked, I think in the past, about my metaphor of a record player as being something that helps you, it can help you inform the way that you phonate as you do your onset, the way you begin your tone. And if you imagine that you have this record player spinning and you're dropping the needle, and when you drop the needle, you make sound, and when you lift the needle, you're no longer making sound, just like a real record player would be. So like, this is harder on video. So, this is now my record player. Okay, I have the right angle. Like that. Or ooh, try it on ooh. And I don't really care what pitch you choose, but here we go. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We have a lot of songs where people sing ooh parts. Christmas Memories, Solstice Song, Sing On. I can't remember if there are others, but we have oohs in all those songs. And it's really important that you are prepared to sing that ooh, that you have it in your mind where it's going to happen, what the timing is, and that you have your body prepared to do that. Sometimes those oohs are in mid-range where it's pretty comfortable and you don't have to really fortify yourself. And then some of them are relatively high, like in Solstice Song for the tenors and basses, for example, you start on a C. So it's ooh, ooh. You're going to want a fairly heady quality, but not breathy. Ooh, don't want to do that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let's do 3 of those in a row. Tenors and basses, sopranos and altos. You can do it wherever you want in this octave, up the octave for your practice. So I'm going to set it up in a 3. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. Ooh, again. Ooh, 1, 2. Ooh, 1, 2. Ooh, once again. Ooh. So I'm thinking each time I'm breathing, actually I could have thought a little bit more about the quality of the vowel that I was breathing in. Remember, I've talked in the past in our live rehearsals about breathing in the vowel that you're about to sing out. So I don't want to breathe like ooh, and then change into a vowel that's something else entirely. I want to think about that ooh while I'm preparing with the breath. So I'm going to do a set of again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Ooh. Breathe in the ooh. 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 How long do you need to breathe? Tenors and basses, remember, in that song, you don't have anything to do for the first 20 measures or something like that. And then you come in on that ooh right there on that pitch that we're singing right now. So you got lots of time. You could take a breath that's just a quarter note long. You could take a breath that's a whole measure long. Let's experiment with those two different ways of approaching it. Let's start with a 3-beat breath, a whole measure long. I'm going to give you 2 measures. The second one is going to be all breath. So 1, 2, 3. Ooh, clear. Let's do that again. So 2 measures. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Now you want to be thinking about what the pitch is in your mind. You want to be thinking about what the vowel is. You want to be thinking about how comfortable and easy am I. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Okay, Ed, you got a question? Oh, straw. You're going to suggest it in the straw. I'll drink to that. Or I won't drink. I'll straw to that. Okay, that's a good point. Good idea. Here we go. I'm going to give you 2 measures once again. We didn't get to the point of breathing on just a quarter note, but let's go ahead and breathe the whole 3 beats like we've been doing. Here's 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's experiment now with 1 beat of breath. So I'll demonstrate it. I'll give you 2 measures still. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Ooh, that was an breath. Maybe you could see it. I was like, oh, not thinking about this. Gotta think about that ooh. 1, 2, 3, 1. Ooh, I actually breathed on 2 quarters that time. It's up to you. You can breathe the amount of time you need to breathe that makes you feel comfortable. What you don't want to do is breathe too early and then tighten and hold and say, well, no, I'm going to actually sing. You want to have the timing so that it feels like a natural out breath, just like when you're sleeping or when you're at rest. You take the breath in, you let the breath out. There's nothing that has to tighten or get tense about it. Let's do that again. This time I'm actually going to sing the 8 measures of the solstice song. I think it's 8. It starts with 2 measures of C, then G, then a B flat. You just follow along. Let's see how it goes. And I'm going to measure. I don't know how I'm going to breathe. We'll find out. 1, 2, 3. How can we learn from what's gone before? That's another part of the exercise. If you do this at home, if you practice this, experiment with not just doing the ooh, but also then going on into the next phrase, the actual text, because the feeling of singing the ooh is going to be one quality, and then the feeling of singing the text is going to be another quality, another feeling. Let's do that right now. So now we're not straw phonating anymore, we're oohing. I'll give you 2 measures. You can decide whether you want to breathe for a whole measure or for a quarter or whatever you want. Here's 1, 2, 3. How can we learn from what's gone before? What has experience taught us? Like that. So tenors and basses, that ooh, and sopranos, you get some oohs in there on your own part. So these are exercises that will help you be prepared. I don't know if you could hear, I wobbled a little bit on my how. When I cut off the ooh, I was a little bit unsteady with my breath, and I was, how can we? It wasn't that bad, but it was a little wobbly. So that's one of those places where, how am I going to feel about that breath in between the ooh and the text? How am I going to deal with that? I'm not going to take more time with that right now, but just for you to think about that and practice, and ask me questions next rehearsal when you have experimented with it and have learned what's a challenge for you and what's not. There are some other oohs. Where are some other oohs? Sing on. I think I'll do that. I'm going to go back, even though, well, it's funny, 18 people have turned in recordings for Sing On, and those people are now kind of a little bit guinea pigs for me to apply things that the rest of the group might be helpful learning for your recordings. And so oohs are one of the spots where sometimes people have a little bit of a hard time singing those oohs. Let's do altos on page 9 of Sing On. Now I'm jumping to Sing On. And what we got here is the tenors. Wait, no, yeah, okay. We're just doing page 9, that's fine. No, sorry, I'm lying. Let's go back because the other ooh has the tenor singing along with, and that would be good. Page 4, we're gonna do page 4. And let's get a C here. Something inside me is changed. Now for the tenors have the most challenging part right here because they have to adjust from changed on that F up a 7th to ooh, right? Which you heard me, I wobbled a little bit. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Stephanie. So what I'd like to do is we'll start with something inside at the top of page 4, and the altos and the tenors are going to be ready to come in on the ooh on the bottom of page 4. Sopranos and altos, sopranos and basses, feel free to join on anything, although the basses may not have anything in this festival they want to partake in. But let's see how the altos and the tenors do for a start. So here's something, 1, 2, 3, and go. Something inside me is changed. Ooh. So actually, Stephanie, that's not going to help that because it cuts in on my singing. So we won't do that. Thank you for trying it. So let me stick with the tenors first of all. Tenors, you're adjusting, right? Something inside me is changed to ooh. Let's do something with a straw. Sopranos, join us on this too. Why don't you sing something inside up an octave and just sing the tenor part up an octave. Now here's what we're going to do, tenors. We're going to sing something inside me has changed and not breathe. We're going to slide up. Something inside me is changed. Ooh, and see how that feels. But all in straw. 1, 2, 3, and. Right, so that's just the first part of that phrase that I'm concerned about is getting that first attack on your high E flat there to make sure that you're singing that in a good place. And the straw is going to help you make that adjustment. Let's do that once again. Does any have tenor or soprano have a question while we're here? Okay, let's do it again. 1, 2, something, and. Good, okay. Let's go back and do it. Something inside me is changed with no breath in between. 2, 3, and something inside me is changed. And that's all we need to sing. So what does it feel like to make that transition from change to ooh? Did you feel like you kept your focus, you kept your core tone as you did that? Now, altos, you have a different issue. You're sitting there waiting, you haven't done anything in the song at all. It's your first sound that you make. How are you going to feel about it? So I'm going to sing the tenor part, and I want you to come in on your ooh, and you're going to breathe in that ooh quality, not gathering tension, just staying easy. So something inside me is changed. Ooh, ooh, sing on. You can stop there. Now, altos, I want to point out something important for you, and tenors also. You'll notice in the music that I have made a marking on the score at the bottom of page 4, last measure, that there's a breath there. So we have only 2 measure phrases here. Yes, I know that basically everybody could do a 4 measure phrase here. I chose to make that an articulation at the bottom of page 4, just for clarity, just for my artistic sensibilities, whatever. So please do breathe there, okay? I have a couple people who didn't breathe there in their recording, and so I have to create a breath for those people. So just everybody do that. Let's do that one more time. I'm going to start on something inside. This time, tenors, I'll give you a chance. Stephanie, you got something?
Yeah, did the ahs get changed to ooh?
Yes, they did.
Okay,
Yes, those
just
are
want to make
oohs.
sure everybody knew that.
Thank you. Okay, so we're all singing ooh, and here's something. I'm going to give you a measure. 1, 2, 3. Something inside me is changed. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Sing on. Whatever comes your way, sing on, sing on. We'll stop there. Okay, so altos, here's the question for you. When you release the ooh at the bottom of page 4, when you take that breath that I just asked you to take, and then you re-articulate the ooh at the top of page 5, are you keeping things basically the same? Have you tightened or tensed or changed your vowel? Have you allowed your lips to get slack and to change vowel? These are things to think about so that you can maintain your good quality tone and make it easy for yourself to go from one phrase to another consistently. These are things to think about. Let's do it one more time. You can think about that. Anything else I should say? I think let's just do it. Okay, here's a 4 before something. 2, 3. Something inside me is changed. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Sing on. Whatever comes your way, sing on. Sing on. Keep going. Keep your music going, flowing from your heart until the day is past and gone. Take the time to look around and find the things that keep you singing on. Sing on. Yeah, there's a reason why I sing this in my range and then change it digitally. Okay, but hopefully that worked out for you. And it's interesting because as I think about it, these phrases changing, altos especially, I'm thinking of you. When you shift on the top of page 5 from your ooh to your sing on, you have to change focus. Suddenly you got those consonants and vowels to deal with, and you want to still keep that sleeve of sound. Remember, I've talked about that before. The sleeve of sound, that there's a quality that doesn't change. And the same thing when you get to the top of page 7. Take the time to look around. Going back to what Jean was talking about earlier with the exercise where she was singing everything in head voice. It may be that you have been singing, you may, like at the bottom of page 6, day, is past and gone. Maybe you've been in your chest voice there. And when you get to the top of page 7, you have to shift, you have to adjust into your head voice there. These are things that you can practice with the straw, you can practice with vowels, and then put back the text and see if you are still able to keep the consistency that you were able probably to have with the straw, or just a simple straightforward vowel, or a semi-occluded vocal tract consonant like an or an or a v or something like that. All these things are useful ways of practicing phrases like that. Okay, questions, thoughts from you all? Nothing? Nothing? Okay, good. All right. So that was ooze. That was onsets. There's one in memory. Oh, sopranos. Let's just get ahead. Bonnie, I see you got your hand up. Meanwhile, everybody pull, do you have Christmas memories yet? Doesn't matter if you do, doesn't matter. But if you got it, pull it up. Bonnie. Oh, no question, okay. Now I don't have it handy. Yes, I do. Sopranos, one of the challenges of Christmas memories is going to be that D. Where is the D? I can't remember where the D is. There it is. That you hold while everybody else is cut off, right? If you look at page 4, for example, and there's a bunch of oohs. If everybody else is looking at page 3, you see how we all have oohs there? That's what it is. Oh, it's an E flat. That's what it is. And it starts in the measure before, at top of page 4, third measure. And we jump from the G to the E flat there. And you need to maintain that E flat for 4 measures. And now, if we listen to the recording from Anuna, right, they select their sopranos from around Ireland, from people who are able to make a sound with basically no vibrato at all. That is not what we have in this choir. I realize there are people who have different levels, different amounts of vibrato, and that's okay. I want to keep it as smooth as possible as we're able to as we sing that. So if I were to sing just a fragment of page 3 heading into page 4, we're coming home for Christmas Day to our sweetest memories, right? And Eric ends on that E flat. And the sopranos, we have to figure out the timing of this. It's going to be really important that you feel comfortable getting your breath for that G. In measure 32, the third measure on page 4. It says no breath, but that's his idea. That's not my idea of what we're going to do. I think you're going to need that breath, sopranos, or perhaps some of you will take it and I'll smear it and I'll hide it and we'll make it sound like there's no breath. Not sure about that. We'll figure that out together. But meanwhile, sopranos, I want you to start thinking about how you're going to sing that ooh. Let's just go right from the G to the E flat. So there's the G. Ooh. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm reading that wrong. You can tell me, by the way, say, hey, Adam, what are you doing? What it is the sopranos have the B flat. I was thinking there was something weird about that I didn't remember it being that way. So, ooh, so you come from the B flat to the E flat. Let's do that, sopranos. All we're going to do is we're just going to float that ooh. Maybe we'll do it with the straw in a moment, but let's see what it's like. We're going to do 4 beats of B flat, and then we'll hold the E flat for a few measures, okay? So I'll give you a whole measure. 1, 2, 3. That's about how long it'll last, okay? Now you're coming into that having sung a phrase already, so this isn't really what you're going to be experiencing when you actually sing the recording. That's okay. It's something to start with. What does it feel like to sing that ooh? Let's do it on a straw. Okay, we're going to start again in measure 32 on that ooh. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Whew, didn't quite make it there. I'm not sure what kind of a breath I took, but it wasn't what I needed. So how did you do? Did it feel okay? Did it feel comfortable? Don't know. Oh, not so good. Okay, all right. Okay, let's do one more thing on this before we leave this, and we'll come back to this in future sessions. One more thing, what I want to do right now is take the straw in and out, right? Start with the straw in, and then take it out singing an ooh, right? So back and forth between straw and ooh. Here's that B flat, there's the E flat. Give you four beats. 1, 2. See, that felt pretty good for me. That felt like I kept a fairly consistent tone between the straw and the ooh, and that's the kind of thing that I want you to work on and experiment with. Okay, any questions or thoughts about that? Looking for hands up. Okay, good. So we need to take a little break before we finish up. So let's take 5 minutes again, and at 8:07 by my computer, we'll come back. And deep inside. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start back up again. So I put in the chat 2 phrases. Stirs the milk, stirs the milk, stirs the milk. Chop, chop. I would like you to feel this quarter note. Is it quarter note? Stirs the milk, stirs the milk. And I want you to, so the issue here is not everybody is feeling the syncopation of sing on with accuracy. They're not finding the rhythm all the time. So I want to do just a little exercise to illustrate what the difference is between a non-syncopated phrase and a syncopated phrase. Stirs the milk is not syncopated. Stirs the milk, stirs the milk. Say it, stirs the milk, stirs the milk, stirs the milk. That's probably enough times. Now, stirs the music is different. Stirs the music. Mu falls ahead of the beat. Stirs the music. If your music is happening with the beat, then it's not in the right spot. Stirs the music, 1 and 2. Stirs the music in my soul. I'll do it again. Ready and go. Stirs the music in my soul. Go back to the contrast. Stirs the milk, 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 stirs the music, stirs the milk, stirs the music, stirs the milk. Okay, probably enough of that one. Experiment with it, right? What is the impetus? What is the surprise, the excitement? Stephanie, how do you teach syncopation? Take it away. I can let you think about it for a moment.
Well, I actually subdivide. Da, 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 da. That's a little fast, but I might slow it down and then speed it up, but feeling the in-between beats.
I'm subdividing with ducka 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 stirs the music ducka 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 ducka. Try it. Ducka 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 ducka. Oh, I like some little Wendy's doing a cha to cha. Right? Stirs the music in my soul. The syncopation is meant to be a little tiny surprise to your expectation of where the beat is, of where the impetus, where the pulse is. So if you have other things to say, Stephanie, about that, I just wanted to throw that out, and I think, go ahead.
Just so you have to be early, not late.
Yeah, early is good. So it's interesting because sometimes I hear people ironing out the rhythm of sing on and changing the rhythm so that it doesn't have that syncopation anymore. And I have to figure out exactly what I'm going to do with that in terms of editing, whether I kind of cut your vocal track and shift it over so that suddenly you're now syncopated, but then I have a little hole over here that I have to fill in somehow. It's a challenge for me. So, but that's okay. Okay, so I wanted to move on, and I wanted to do a little bit of Betelehemu. So let's look at that. Now, I have finished the video click tracks. I put them up yesterday, and so they're available on the website, and you can now start recording. Big prize to Phil Troutman. He was the first person to record Betelehemu. He was also the first person to record Sing On. Phil, good job. So, yeah, so that's available. One of the things that I say in the video, and that I'll say right here, is it's totally okay to record just a section of the Betelehemu. You can do just the slow part, you can do just the fast part. If it feels like it's too much to try to do the entire thing, then just do a portion of it. And I give you some instructions at the end of my videos about how to do that. Sopranos and altos, especially, I think there are a couple cutoffs that I'm not very happy with in my video. I didn't quite coordinate them very well. So go with what you hear, not with what you see. Sorry. Let's see, what else do I need to tell you? I was thinking about the, I don't know if that's the right key. Oh, let's check it. It should be a G. Hawaii hori baba. People are having some trouble singing through those phrases, right? There's a word called apaggio in singing. Let's get it right. Apaggio, okay? Apaggio. Everybody say apaggio. If we were in rehearsal together, I'd say, okay, say it together, apaggio, right? 2 P's, 2 G's. In Italian, that means when they're double consonants, that means you get a sound stop. Apaggio. So apaggio is a hard thing to define a little bit, but it's a way of thinking about your support. It translates into lean. It doesn't mean you actually lean as you sing, but there's a quality of feeling the energy coming from your torso, from your core. We were talking about that earlier in the rehearsal. So when you're singing sopranos and altos, these long phrases, if you can get that quality going, it's going to help you keep the core quality as long as you're able to sustain it, which may not be the full length of the phrase, but as long as you are doing it, it's going to give you a good quality tone, and it won't kind of fade out or get breathy as much as it might. So I want to experiment with that. I have an image in my mind. I don't know if this is going to be useful, but one of Lorraine and my favorite places in the world that we've ever been is Half Moon Cay. We were on a cruise and we stopped at Half Moon Cay, Holland, America. That they own the island. It's a Caribbean island. It was for Lorraine's 50th birthday. We took a cruise. Now, what did we get to do for my 50th birthday? Darn it. No, it'll happen. It'll happen later on. Anyway, so we were there at Half Moon Cay, and the water is blue and it's gorgeous and it's warm. And I stood behind Lorraine in the water about up to here, just kind of supported her, and she kind of floated in the water. And we could lean into the water. We could push the water, kind of respond to the water. And that image to me is how this section of Betelehemu feels. So it's like, it just keeps flowing forward. And I don't know whether it's a pushing forward or a flowing forward or something like that. That's what I want to encourage you to experiment and see if you can find that for yourselves. So what did I want to, so let's just do a little bit of that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Logic Pro, and I'm going to use that as the basis. Close. Say, we'll save Santa. And I want to use that as your guide to sing along with that. Whoops, that's not what we wanted. Sorry. That one. Okay. So we've done it with kind of repeated syllables, like na 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 na. That's one way that we worked on. And the na 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 in that case, that's like a reminder to you to be continually feeling that sense of forward motion. That's what that's meant to do. You can do it with straw also. That's another way of feeling that back pressure that you're working against. You're working forward sort of against that back pressure. you could do it on vowels also. Tenors and basses, go ahead and you can sing your Betelehemu if you want. I'm going to start at the beginning of Betelehemu, so we'll have 2 of the phrases of the tenors and basses before the sopranos and altos come in on their part. One thing before we do this, I just want to say, I have thought at times about how I should rehearse songs with the group. And if we were in a live rehearsal and I was not going all the way through songs, people would be complaining, and rightly so, because you need to go all the way through the songs. However, in this context, I'm not really quite sure about what's different between me playing the song and you going all the way through the song by yourself at home, and you going through the song by yourself at home, and we're not actually watching you, you're just doing it on your own. I'm not really sure what the difference is, which is the reason why I haven't really been focusing on trying to go all the way through the songs in these rehearsals. You can give me feedback if that doesn't seem right to you, or if you have a reason why it's good to go all the way through, but that's my thought. So, but we will go ahead and start at the beginning, and right, and I need to share that with you so that you can actually hear it. Okay, here we go. Any questions first? I'm looking for hands. Okay, let's go. So, share. And you can see Logic Pro. Wave a hand at me. Somebody wave. Thank you. Okay, good. And we'll hide that. Okay, so let's start here, I think. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. Here's your first pitches. Leaning forward. Easy breath. All right, let me stop for a second. Before I want to ask you questions, sopranos and altos, especially about how that worked for you or not. Just want to point out here, when we get to this last Betelehemu, tenors and basses and everybody. Oh, and let me step back here for a second. On the click tracks, I realized when I was recording, when I was recording the video click tracks for you, that if I did not have, for the tenor and basses, right? If I was recording the conducting for you and I did not have any of the alto and soprano part, I totally got lost. I had no idea where the heck we were. It's one thing to say, okay, there are 14 times through, you say Betelehemu 14 times, but I didn't remember that by the time I got to 7 or 8, who knows? So I have included a little bit of soprano and alto on the tenor and bass click tracks so that you can hear what's going on. And the second time through in the slow section, a little bit of me on the solo bit so you can hear where we are and you can say, okay, I know where we are. So now, that said, here on this last Betelehemu, there's essentially a fermata, right, on that last Betelehemu. And I didn't really have a good way. I don't know if you could see this. It says 6/4 right here. That's how Logic Pro interpreted what I did from the notation. That's how it decided how long it was going to last, that fermata. It just changed it into a 6/4 measure. It's like, okay, but that didn't really make sense for me in terms of conducting you. And so I think I just kind of conducted a 4 in my own tempo, whatever that was. Let's see what that sounds like though. Let's go back just a little bit. This is the last two. A little slowing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see that's how the timing works. I don't know what that tempo is. You'll see me do it on the video. You follow along with that. That's accurate. And so that should work out okay for you. I just wanted to warn you in advance, tenors and basses. Now, let me come back out of here. Sopranos and altos. When you sang the ah, wah, ye, section we just did, what was that like for you? Did you feel like you were able to keep a core tone? I know that a lot of you have said you can't sing the phrases that long, and that's okay. How was the stagger breathing? Open-ended questions. What do you know? What can you tell me? Or we don't have to say anything, and that's okay. We just practice it. That's all right. Okay. So, right. So then I will go on to the fast section. And what I want to do is go ahead and, oh, wait, did I see a hand? No, I didn't see a hand. Okay. So, yes, Stephanie, I did see a hand. It was you.
It always helps me to lean. I put my weight on my back foot. I mean, my feet are maybe one is slightly back from the other. Mm-hmm. And then just ever so gradually over a period of 10 seconds or however long the phrase is, I'm shifting my weight forward to my other foot.
Uh-huh. Is that a flute thing that you're doing, or is that a singing thing you're doing, or what?
I think it's both. I've done it. I started doing it in flute, but it seems to help with the singing just to push through the phrase.
Yeah. It sounds to me like it gives you a sense of motion, maybe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, good. And that's, if you sit, it's one, I don't really, the whole thing about business, you grow or die. In this case, with singing, when you move, if you just sit, then you're probably going to struggle. If you have some sense of motion, if you have some momentum, then that's going to help you. Even if your momentum doesn't last the whole length of the phrase that's notated, the sound that you make while you are singing is going to have a better quality because it has that momentum inherent within it. So I think, I like that idea, Stephanie. I think that's a good one. And that's kind of going along with what I'm feeling too, with how I'm presenting it. Okay, so anything else? Anyone else have a comment? Okay, so let's go to the faster section now. So we're going to go to let's go ahead and speak the words first in rhythm just to get that practice. We'll maybe even do it twice through. I'm going to slow down the tempo a little bit here. This is a little bit faster. Okay, so find, wait, not that music. That's not what we want. I want this music. I'm going to start on page 3, then at letter C. Okay, 1, 2, ready, and speak. Awa yo ri baba bojule. Awa yo ri baba fehenti. Awa yo ri baba bojule. Awa yo ri baba fehenti. Ni bolag Yesu, ni bolag bebi, ni bolag Yesu, ni bolag bebi. Betelehemu inuara, ni bela bi baba odaju. Betelehemu inuara, ni bela bi baba odaju. Ian ni kuno. Ian ni kuno. Adupe funo, adupe funo, adupe funo, jooni papa oloheo. Ian funo baba, Ian funo baba, Ian funo baba anu baba todawashi. That's the cutoff. That's a little vague in the video click track. Okay, tenors and basses, I want you to be aware, and you'll hear it on the click track if you haven't already, or on the practice guide, that the tempo shifts just a little bit. It's not exactly the same coming out of letter H into letter I on pages 6 and 7. So I would like you to hear that from the Logic Pro. And we're going to go back and do the same section again at tempo with Logic Pro. You can decide whether you want to speak it again or you want to sing it with. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so basically we're starting right from where we just stopped. And here we go. So look forward to having Patrick and Steve play the real stuff.
Okay,
One, two.
1 and 2.
Papa Yori Papa Kochule, Papa Yori Papa Fehendi, Papa Yori Papa Kochule, Papa Yori Papa Fehendi, Ibola, Mie, Sola, Ibola, Ibola, Mie, Sola, Ibola, Ibola, Petele, Muiluara. Ni bella vi papa otaju petele muiluara ni bella vi papa otaju Ian mi funo Ian mi funo adu perfuno Giovanni, Papa Onoreo, Ian Papa, Ian Papa,
Bad Adam.
Ian Papa, Adu, Papa Tonawashi.
Fading out, tenors, that's tricky.
Slow down shortly. 2, 1, 2, 1.
It's a shift right here.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Soloist comes in. We'll continue on. Finish the whole song. Sopranos and altos, here we go. 1, 2. And that's all there is to it. And back into tempo. Are any of you going to do your percussion tracks for me? One person has done it. Ready? Set. Okay, good. So I'll stop sharing. And we didn't do that much on Sing On today. We've done a lot of work on Sing On over the last few weeks. And I know that there's still things we can learn on and work and improve on in that piece. But we also have the other songs that we need to move on to. So let's take a step back and look at where we are. Sing On, Betelehemu. Both of those tracks, both of those video click tracks sets are ready for you. You can record either of those pieces anytime. Solstice Song, the practice guides are also ready and available on the website, so you can start working on singing that. Santa, tonight, tomorrow, Santa Gets a Suntan. I'll have those practice guides on the website also, because they're done. I just have to mix them. And then that leaves Christmas Memories and Piece, right. Okay, piece. So those pieces I should be able to get in the next week or two also. So you have your marching orders, right? So go out there and practice and sing and record and send me stuff, and don't worry, really, it's okay. What you do is good. It's all going to fit together. I have considered, I'll just tell you this before we sign off. There had been a time, and if I get enough enough thumbs up from people, I will do this. For the spring, right? Remember, I've told you that I have students who'd never sung in a choir before, and we're definitely working on pitch matching and struggled with that. I had students who I had to adjust their parts up a perfect fourth to get them into the ballpark of where they should have been on their pitches. And sometimes these same students might have sung the correct notes in class in our Zoom rehearsals, and they actually sang back to me the right notes and stuff like that. But then when they recorded themselves, they were not in the right spot anymore. And I had to edit and adjust their parts. What I have considered doing is playing you an example from one of those students or two of those students of what they sent to me and how I modified it to make it work. It has felt a little bit like that would be a betrayal of their privacy, however, which is why I haven't done that. But I do want you to know that there are lots of things that I can do to make a track work. And this is important, nobody who has sent me tracks so far has been, their tracks have not been anything like that. Nobody has had that much of a struggle so that I would need to edit that much. So you can all be confident. Besides, we would have heard that in rehearsals, 6 months ago, a year ago, we would have heard if somebody was off in that way that much. So I'm confident that what you send me is going to be usable and workable and beautiful even. And we're going to put it all together and it's going to be good. So have faith, stay in the pocket. Sorry, sports metaphor, never mind. Stick with it. Okay, so let's go on. Let's move on. I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you all. Thank you. Good to see you, Debbie.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Hi,
Marilyn.
everybody.
Hi,
Good
Teresa.
to see you.
Good to see faces.
Yeah.
Good to see you all.
Bye, Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie. Hi,
Bye-bye.
Ruth. Hi,
Bye,
Mike.
Adam. Thank you.
Hi, Pat.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, come on.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. Gonna go off now.